Hello everybody, my name is Mervyn Stutter. I do the Pick of the Fringe show for the last 28 years at the Edinburgh Fringe, but there is no Fringe this year, so instead of showcasing talent and interviewing them, I can't do the showcase bit, I'll do the interview bit. But today, it is not a performer, it is a reviewer, dare I say an infamous and legendary reviewer of comedy. It is indeed Kate Copstick. Hello Kate.
Hello. How are you?
I'm very well actually. I'm glad you've got a cup of tea, so have I. It's best to be informal.
I expected you to look more devastated and haunted and upset by the fact that you've just spent, you're in your lovely pink jacket, which is wonderful, but, we have both just spent August being nobody.
I know.
Being nothing, Mervyn, nothing.
I know, it's dreadful, but maybe next year, who knows? I've got a funny feeling there won't be a Fringe next year, but we won't get into that just now. I know.
Well, you see that I was talking to quite a few people. There are bad feelings about next year. I think largely because, going to be a bit controversial here, Mervyn.
Good.
Largely because the Fringe Society seem to be so shit.
Oh.
They've collected 1.2 million, and they're basically a ticketing office. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's what they do. They sell tickets. They're a ticketing office, and they organise kind of, I don't know, hugging groups in Fringe Central, and how to get over your inborn racism workshops. But that's basically it. They sell tickets, and at the moment there's no tickets to sell. So what are they doing with 1.2 million?
Yes, we'll await a reply on that. Shall I forward your request?
Yeah, I would love you to, because I would like to know, because there are people out there who are, busy digesting their own livers with anxiety, trying to keep themselves afloat.
Yeah.
Everybody's crowdfunding. There's not going to be any crowds left to fund from because everybody's crowdfunding. There's big venues, little venues, and no sign of a way forward from an organisation. Well, other than that, did you hear that terrible kind of statement that the Fringe Society put out about how we're all going to go online next year and it's going to be a Zoom, going to be an online Fringe, and we're going to encourage people from foreign countries not to bother coming?
Oh, Lord.
I know.
I didn't hear that.
Well, it was fairly horrific.
Yes.
If you had, I suspect you might already have pawned that pink jacket.
Well, my view was that they cancelled the Fringe in April, beginning of April, and if there is a second wave, and we're looking at all sorts of school things in Scotland where you are. The masks are being worn in corridors and whatever communal areas. Now we're going to maybe follow suit, and they're scared of that. And there's been cases of COVID in Scottish schools, for example, now. So we could have a second wave. And if that comes, and they are predicting, the modelling people, I know, I'm not sure about that either, but the modelling people are saying February, March. Well, what's next but April, and you'd have to make a decision off the back of that second wave. But anyway, that's next year.
There are people who predict the end of the world every other 5 minutes.
Yes, I know.
There are tsunamis. There's global warming, Mervyn. We could all just desiccate and fall into a pile of sand. The world could end in many ways. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Not the way to run your life.
Right. Talking of lives, I don't know much about yours, Kate. I've known you for, it seems like years. It is years, but it's
help me because I'm too young for you to
but it's fringe friendships, which are long, deep and enduring, but they are annual. And that's fine. When you've done many years like you and I have, it's fine. We bump into each other, have a quick word because we're hurrying this way, that way, or we have a glass and we have long chats. But I have never, ever said to you, some very basic questions like, when did you start reviewing? What did you do when you were 18? What did you aspire to do? Yeah, okay. When you were 18, what did you aspire to do?
When I was 18, I was monumentally fucked up.
Oh.
But all I ever wanted to be when I was little, when I was wee, was an actress. That's
Okay.
all I ever wanted to be. Then I could be... It's all right, I'm on the telly.
This interview, ladies and gentlemen, is taking place in a shop. I also have to add that I've got a builder repairing my roof, and I'm hearing drilling. I don't know whether you're hearing drilling from time to time.
I'm not hearing drilling.
Oh, okay. So we got builders and we got shops, but other than that, it's going really well.
Yeah. Now wanted to be an actress, and I could anybody, you know. And I used to, when I was very little, I used to write little mini plays and put them on, either in our garden hut or in my bedroom, with me as the star, needless to say. I was a phenomenal casting director.
Yes.
And I have three younger siblings who are triplets.
Oh.
One boy, two girls, and they were my supporting cast.
Yes.
There was quite a lot of singing. My mum was a phenomenal singer, brilliant soprano. She was a leading light in the local operatic society. And so I put on all these plays. But when I was at school, I went to Paisley Grammar School, and I didn't really join the drama society or anything like that because it began to worry me that you can't get marks out of 10 for acting. And I was a very marks out of 10 type person, and the grammar really, really reinforced that. It was a wonderful school. I was so desperately glad I went to Paisley Grammar, where it was all about, we learned by rote. I got the belt for bad handwriting. It was a glorious, glorious education by teachers who loved their subjects.
Right.
And you had to pass an exam to get in, then you had to pass another exam to get into the upper primary, then you had to pass another exam to get into the secondary. So it was the creme de la creme.
Aye.
And we loved that. So it was a lot about marks out of 10. And I know now we're in a society that thinks every kiddie should win a prize.
Yeah.
Which is just bollocks. Some kiddies are just shit. Yeah. And there's no point in giving a shit kiddie a prize. We'll see what you see what happens. They become prime minister. So I didn't carry on with acting because it wasn't quantifiable. I wanted to know if I'm best because I got more points than anybody else. So then my mum died very suddenly, overnight more or less, when I was just nearly 17 and about to sit my hires. And plan A had been to go back for 6th year and whatnot. I think I was going to do English and psychology was plan A. But it was all just so... Everything kind of fell apart after Mum died.
Yes.
And I thought I could put it back together again by doing what usually made people smile, which was being clever. So I announced that I was going to go to university and do law, because that's what clever people do.
Right.
Law or medicine. And I had English, history, Latin, French, and German.
Right. Great.
So that's not going to help with a medical degree.
No.
So I went to university and I did law. And I drank myself into a stupor. I say regularly, pretty much every day. My final honours paper on Kelson's Pure Theory of Law, which more people should know about, Mervyn.
Oh, good.
I'm very happy to tell you.
Yes, do email me a copy.
It's all to do with norms, Mervyn.
Right.
Norms. Yes.
Right.
There are big norms and little norms. This is an Edinburgh show, to be fair. I've never thought about it.
I'm getting a real insight into how you review now. You've got all these criteria.
So my last honours paper on Kelson's Pure Theory of Law, big norms, little norms, was sat on a breakfast of 2 litres of Guinness because it was the only alcohol I had in the house.
Right.
And I wasn't really up for leaving the house without what we in Scotland call a skinful. So when you ask, what did I want to be at 18? Drunk.
Yes, a drunk lawyer. Excellent.
And
There's
I
a long
succeeded
history of them, Kate.
I succeeded on a regular basis beyond my wildest expectations.
Okay, so
that was a long time ago, and I used to drink something from Oddbits, which they called Spanish Sauterne.
yes,
You, as
yes,
a
I remember it.
person, will be able to delude what kind of ghastliness that was.
Yes, yes,
And cooking sherry. I was very big on cooking sherry.
right.
I stayed in Wilton Street in Glasgow, and down at the end on Mayhill Drive, there was a wee sort of licensed grocer that sold cooking sherry. You took your own bottle,
Right.
and they filled it up with cooking sherry.
This is this is very odd. Okay, so
Mervyn, you asked.
I did ask, yes, and so you did the law, but you didn't go into law. When did you start? You've been drawn, and you're a major now on comedy. This is your thing. Well, apart from the shop, which we'll get into as later, but you have devoted acres of print and hours of time to comedy. And was that via the festival, or did you were you into comedy before that?
I had always, I did do quite a lot of performing.
Yeah.
Did a lot of cabaret, and that was all comedy cabaret.
Ah.
And comedy musical. You mean you never saw my...
I was going to... Did you have a character, a female character that you performed as?
Me, Mervyn.
Oh.
Well, I did. I had a character for a little while, and I ended up... That's one of the ways I got on Number 73, TV, the kids' show.
Oh, yes.
A character called Maisie. She's a marvellous woman, Maisie. She was lovely. Based on all the wee bochly woman that you get around Glasgow, and she was a cleaner, but she was the kind of cleaner that, she'd come into your house, and your house would be like beautiful. And by the time she left it, it looked like, the Gallagate on a Saturday night.
Right.
But she was a wonderful woman. Mervyn, when you laugh, your cheeks turn the same colour as your jacket.
I know.
Do you think you might have a heart condition?
I think it's the cooking sherry.
So it was amazing. But then I did lots of musical comedy, and then I discovered, when I went down to London, I kind of discovered the sheer joy, which is an audience of screaming queens.
Right.
They're theatre literate, they're smart, they're joiny-inny. A lot of the stuff I did, I performed with Jojo at the Limelight and whatnot. So it was, and the first show that I toured was called Hardly Camp at All. And so I did try stand-up. I was absolutely shite. But I tell you, I'm so glad I did. Because it informed.
Yeah.
Well, it informed everything. And at the time, I had no idea why I was so shite. But I was. Now, looking back, I know I was shite because, the lights were on, but there was no one at home. I'd gone back to marks out of 10. So it was kind of, witty comment, with, barbed comment, pause for laughter, which didn't come. Because although in cabaret circles and with a wonderful gay audience, it was, the kind of vicious queen put down and all that was great. At Ha-Ha at Ealing, it went down like a cup of cold sick. And I think I had absolutely zero warmth or likability because there wasn't a real person there. I was just some smart alecky Scottish bitch up there trying to impress with cleverness.
What year was this, Kate?
That would be, I don't know, in the 90s,
Oh, right.
early 90s,
Okay.
very early 90s, mid 90s.
Hmm.
And I did a bit of emceeing. I was better hosting like theatre shows.
Yeah.
But still, what I just didn't get was that there has to be a person there. There has to be a person, and they have to have their own voice.
Yes, absolutely.
No matter what that voice is, you have to be genuine. That just was not genuine.
So you doing this sort of thing, I mean, it's good to hear that, because often reviewers of all sorts of things, theatre, art, whatever, they've never done the practice. So you actually have felt standing up there, the fear, the disappointment. Oh, what have I just done? Press exit. No, I just hit something. No, it's all right. Yeah, so you've experienced what it's like to be up there, and that has to inform reviewing, because you will have an immediate sympathy, even if you don't like what's in front of you.
I have an immediate lack of sympathy. Because I know that it's such a privilege. It's a massive privilege to be standing up there on a stage in a light with a whole load of people who sat on their bums being quiet just for you. Nobody else gets to do that. And to take that privilege and piss all over it, either by not putting the work in, or being derivative or whatever, really annoys me. So when I see people pissing on their privilege,
Yes,
that's when I get lethal. I'm more than not happy, but I would much rather see somebody fling everything at the wall and crash and burn than somebody do what I used to do, which is cheat and not. Your audience are kind of giving themselves to you. The least you do is give yourself to them.
Well, if
you're not going to do that, then you have to be Jimmy Carr or Jim Vine. You have to be so brilliant that there isn't a second during which your audience is sitting thinking, because they're too busy laughing. There's two kinds of comedy, or you have to be Mark Thomas, and you have to be filling every moment with, oh my God, do the government really do that?
Yes.
But you can't just stand up there and take your ego for a ride.
That's right. I mean, people like Mark and many others will do, it's sort of a storytell with lots of comedy in it. But if the story is strong and riveting, I mean, I've watched in the 80s many of the alternatives who, as it was called then, who weren't necessarily funny, but absolutely riveting to watch. They were so interesting. But I'm a sucker for one person on the stage who is passionate about something, be it a singer, an actor, or a comedian. As long as I'm involved, if I'm laughing as well, fantastic.
Generally speaking, you paid to be there.
Yeah.
They owe you.
Yeah.
You don't walk into a butcher shop and pay for a pound of steak and then not get a pound of steak.
Yeah. So you are because you've got a reputation of being quite tough on comedians from the very get-go that you were doing it in Edinburgh. And
that's because that's because it's just such a fucking privilege to be up there.
Yeah.
And you're not. The audience is not there for you. You're there for the audience.
So as a reviewer, seeing lots of comedy and lots of different styles, of course, do you feel weary? Like, does some of it become formulaic? And it's not necessarily their problem because the audience is still entertained. So because sometimes when I put my shows on, the reviewers say, "Oh, I didn't like it." I say, "Well, how did the audience like it?" They loved it. Well, if the audience loved it, we have to put them on.
I've been to shows, not many, but I have been to shows where, I look around and I think, I'm the only one not falling about the place laughing. And I would always write that in the review.
Yes.
Always.
Yes.
And I would put, a couple of lines about what I thought, but I would kind of review the audience as well as
Yes,
the act.
absolutely.
And I would wonder why I'm not getting it.
Yeah.
Having said which, the majority of people in London love a McDonald's. I can't stand it. I think it's appalling.
Yeah.
I think it's disgusting, and I think they're morally reprehensible. So I don't think if I was reviewing McDonald's, I would say they seem to be very popular, but
yes. Now with the reviewing,
I have complete control. I'll close them all down.
The Edinburgh reviewing, and there's a lot of people hopefully watching this who go to Edinburgh regularly, and they will read a review of yours, and this is going to be general, it's not just comedy, it's theatre, dance, whatever, and you read a review and you go, whoa, that's a cracker, right? And you look above, it's got 3 stars or 4 stars, and you think that was a 5-star review. Do the reviewers put the stars on the reviews?
Yes, they do, but everybody has their own. This is people, the stupidity and the toxicity is that people care about the stars more than they care about the review.
Well, you can put them up easily, can't you?
And most people just look at the stars.
Yeah.
And they don't read the review.
Yeah.
Every year I ask the Scotsman if I can go and see something, and at some point it's going to be both Robin Ince and Simon Munnery said yes to this over the years. I said what I want to do is either put 5 stars up and then go, this show is just dreadful, it's the worst thing I've ever seen, I don't know what's happened to this comic, or put a 1-star review and then go, this is the best thing I have ever seen in my life, just to see, if what it is that I think a lot of comics and their PRs and their management are lazy.
Yeah.
All they want is rows of stars. Half the time you can't even see the posters because they're covered in stars. And they don't care if the stars are from The Guardian or from I don't know much about comedy but I know what I like.com. They really don't care. And that is a worry because every reviewer's stars are personal to that reviewer.
Yep.
And it's the war cry of the frustrated, red light 4, red light 4. It's not down to you to say it's a 4. It's down to the reviewer. Now, if you don't like the 4 stars, don't put them on your fucking poster. Get pull quotes, which any good review will have, and mine always do. And put that. Use your words, Mervyn. Use your words.
Absolutely.
I think it's tragic that, we've now come down to, I was reading this week that Generation Z don't like full stops because they're intimidating.
I know.
We're down to a world of being frightened of full stops and nobody being able to read words. They just look at the symbols up above.
Well, I think you're right. Because I've read your reviews and other people's obviously over the years, and the one thing I know is that with you in particular on comedy, even if you're being very critical, it is informed, and you take a great deal of time to write it in a constructive, dare I say constructive, but it is constructive way. If people care to read it correctly, it's informed and helpful. That's what you're trying to do, because you are basically a communicator. I mean, you may not have got on the stage, but you want to communicate your opinions. I can hear it now. You have opinions, and you want to communicate them and help people. It's not destructive in any way.
I can't think of anybody. Oh, it's been I can't remember really going to see somebody that I thought was so. I genuinely felt with every fibre of my consciousness was so bad that I would just say, don't go and see this. Because who am I?
Yeah.
Say that, I can say this is what I think.
Now this year, talking of comedy and reviews, this year there is no Fringe allegedly, but I spoke to you the other night because you were going in to see a stand-up comedian performing at the Fringe. I mean, I think you said when I was chatting to you, this was the Fringe, this one performance.
It was,
And I might pop in what we recorded. We're looking at the quality of it now because you were freezing to death walking down Guthrie Street, and then you hid in an alcove because you were so cold, which actually did cut off a bit of the signal. But so we may pop a bit of this in. But you went to tell us who you saw and give us an assessment of what happened and what. Because most of the stuff's online right now, isn't it? I mean, I'm doing stuff online.
and Nathan streamed. The actual show was streamed live.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah. And so, what was it like? Was it a good show?
Well, he certainly gets an extra star just for being there.
Yep.
Because Nicola, God bless her, opened Scotland up to outside performances.
Yes.
And he was the only one who took the chance.
And this is at the venue called the Three Sisters.
It's at the Three Sisters,
Yeah.
which, when the Fringe isn't there, is lovely.
I know.
It doesn't smell of old beer and death. It was just cobbled courtyard. There was an awning in case it rained. It is Scotland, with flowers, and it was lovely. Nice, clean tables, no stickiness on the cobbles. He's put a lot of work into the show. A lot of work, and it's very convoluted. It's one of these shows that's very convoluted, and I mean there is a story. There's a narrative thread, and then lots of little offshoots and tangles, and every so often you do think, what are you on about? But then at the end, I tell you, you go, oh, that was clever.
Okay.
Oh, that was very clever, Nathan. You put a lot. I mean, he has obviously put so much work into that. I think he kind of came alive during his little asides and whatnot. I've seen him be better, but as I say, there's a lot of work. He was there. It was a bit of a nightmare gig because for all people are whining and moaning, just cancer, what a tragedy. Very few people turned up. Nobody really turned up from the comedy industry. No other comics.
Who was in the audience? How many?
Actual audience.
Yeah, I guess.
Fewer than 20.
Wow, okay.
Fewer than 20. And then, of course, as the evening went on, more people came just to drink and listen. And so by the end, the courtyard was quite foolish and everybody was applauding.
Yes.
Which is kudos.
Yeah.
But I did think, and I'm sure you get this during the Fringe as well, the Scottish comics, the local comics, never shut up whining about how they don't get enough coverage. Where's all the coverage of the local comics? Why is there not enough space for them? They're overwhelmed with people coming in from the abroad. Now, as of Monday, there were those spaces. There were the free Fringe spaces. The Three Sisters opened that up. It's a fabulous space.
Yes.
The Surgeons Hall has got a marvellous space. If you're a free Fringe stand-up comic, you could have been there. That was your chance.
Yeah.
That was your chance. You could have been there one night only, whatever you want to do. But it's your Edinburgh.
Yes, it would have been a nice thing to have played the not Fringe. You know, that there wasn't a Fringe yet I played it. I mean, that's fun. If you're local, I would have thought that was fun.
I thought it was really important that he came up, and kind of important that he and sort of Alex Petty of the Free Festival put down that marker that we were there, and I think it showed a commitment that no other bugger seems to have.
So on the broad comedy scene, I mean, we've had lockdown. Now we're into masks, and we're probably going to have to be wearing masks for the foreseeable future. I can't see a way out of that. Somebody just, apparently in Hong Kong, a man who had COVID has got COVID again. So it looks like there's different strains, a bit like the flu. So we've got this future. Is it going to happen? Is comedy scene going to die, or is it going to happen?
I don't know. I think that it will be extremely sad if everyone kind of gives up and goes online.
Yeah. But you've got to get people in, haven't you? That's the problem. I mean, the comics may want to do it, or theatre may want to do it, but you know, I've got a space down here, a lovely old theatre built by the Shelley family, Percy Bysshe and Mary, the lovely Shelley Theatre, 150-seater. I said to them months ago, you know, for next year, what happens at 2 metres? It goes down to 45. No, 25. 25, from 150 to 25. Fabulous intimate theatre. You'd love it. Lovely old place. And 1 metre goes down to 45. It's not financially viable.
No, it's not. I think that at some point we're going to have to get, and I don't know how, we're going to have to get proper, non-biased information.
Yeah.
That does not go through this appalling government or anyone that they run. And I think that it's in the government's, I'm sounding like what they call a rat licker now, but I think that it's in the government's, it's in any government's interest to keep people terrified. Terrified people do what a government wants. I honestly don't know. I don't think online comedy, stand-up comedy would have to change. It would have to rethink itself to work properly online. Because no stand-up really works without an audience.
Yeah. And also those audiences are better when they're packed together. You know,
Yes.
if you're spaced out in social bubbles or whatever, you know, cabaret tables. Yes, you can a bit like a corporate. You know, the corporate dinners. I've done them. There's a table over there, a table over there, a table over there, and you try to make them a whole. It become an audience. It's very difficult. So you need to be wedged together in a small, sweaty room, which is the the absolute nightmare for COVID.
It needs to smell like comedy.
Yeah.
And they're doing a wonderful thing. I don't know if you've read in Germany, and I'm desperate to find out how that goes. What they're doing is they've got 1,500 healthy people, and they have to test negative for COVID, and they are putting them in. They're creating a gig, a rock gig, in a club setting, like a proper.
Oh yeah.
With everyone standing around. They're putting tags on everyone and then going, right, there you go, have a gig. And they're looking at how worrying it actually is, you know, how much contact there actually is, how much people are actually breathing down one another's necks, and because they have these tags everywhere.
Yeah.
And then they're going to see how dangerous letting people back into like theatre spaces and club spaces is, and which is because at the moment everyone's terrified of something we don't know enough about to be terrified of.
Yes, and I mean, to deal with this, it's costly. I mean, I applaud Andrew Lloyd Webber for the Palladium experience, but he has to put this fog. He said he got it from Korea, what to do, South Korea. That you have to put this fog down in the theatre that just kills everything. You can do it on a plane as well, but you know, a whole theatre, that's big. And he says we do it every fortnight, not every month. Yeah. And you look at the cost of all this. It's, I don't know.
But also, if you look at you know, some of the riots and everything that have gone on with no spikes after, some of the protest marches, no spikes after. They're packing people onto planes. No spikes there. You know, it's not. I understand, of course, it's dangerous. It's much more dangerous for some people than others. 90% of people are perfectly okay after it. Like flu, when it's bad, it's very bad.
Yes.
And medical science doesn't understand all of it because it seems to affect so many different parts of the body and different people. But we're still stopping everything, life as we know it,
Yeah.
for something we still don't yet know enough about.
Well, I suppose it's about testing. You just got to have an extraordinarily comprehensive testing. It's going to be easy. I read there's talk from the government about a test at home, but I mean, there's been such nonsense coming out of the government, world-beating apps that are crap. So I don't believe any of that. But you know, if we can get tested regularly, and then we're looking good. If we can embrace the mask, like in Japan, they embrace the mask. They wear the mask if they've got a cold. So it's not a problem to the Japanese to wear it for COVID because they wear it anyway. I don't know. But, I wouldn't be sending out anything from my mouth to anybody if I wore a mask. So that's the way I see it. And frankly, in a shop, how long of my life is going into a shop? 20 minutes? It's not a problem.
Well, I actually got a home testing kit.
Oh, right.
And I'm delighted to say I'm negative.
Okay.
So I'm not putting out anything other than a bit of bad breath anyway.
Well, lovely. Well, there we are.
Well, as you say, test everybody, test all the time.
There,
Give people a packet of cotton buds to ram up your nose on a regular basis.
Well, I'm very pleased to know, Kate, that you are fragrant at this moment. In fact, I shall finish chatting to you on that note, because what a very pleasurable thing to go away believing Kate Copstick is in full mind, body, and very active and deliciously fragrant. I don't think there's anything I haven't asked you really. I had a little set of notes. I didn't ask you about your charity. Can you give us just a quick chat about your charity?
Well, it's pretty much my life from 2008. All the fundraising is done here in Mervyn because nobody gives us any money.
Right.
I'll send you our bank details. Along with my invoice for this chat. We rescue women and children who are subject to rape and domestic abuse.
Where?
Either within the family or within the community in Kenya. The poorest areas of Kenya. We move them to some place that they choose, and then we set them up in a small business. So that they're then independent. They don't need anybody. They don't need anything. Nobody beats them up. Nobody, they can send their kids to school. And I can do that for less than £25 per woman. Amazing.
And the charity is called?
Mama Biashara.
Biashara. In fact, if you...
that means business mother in Kiswahili.
And we, oh, right. So you can, if you send me some details, and I can maybe let people know where they might donate.
Even you, Mervyn.
Lovely, Kate. Oh, what a pleasure talking to you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Kate Copstick. Thank you. Bye, Kate.
Bye.
Bye. Well, that was Kate Copstick, the infamous comedy reviewer from the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. There'll be more interviews coming, so do join in on this channel. You can subscribe for updates here. It's free to do so, so why not join in? Now, before I go, I must give you the address to donate to Kate's charity, Mama Biashara, the Kenyan charity. She explained what it was about just earlier, but here's how you can donate money, and it's Mama Biashara at givey.com. The full address now on the screen. If you want to donate to Mama Biashara, go to givey.com. Right, that's it from me. More interviews to come, as I say, and maybe the occasional comedy song. Well, we live in strange times. What do we need? Comedy songs, yes. So that's it. Take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.